So I learned very early in my life that making money is really hard. So in order to be successful, you have to work really hard and you have to be stressed. Being stressed means you're making money.
Welcome to Top Rated Gym, the ultimate podcast for gym owners ready to take their business to the next level. Each episode is packed with actionable advice to help you increase revenue, boost retention, and scale your business to new heights. Whether you're just starting out or looking to expand your locations, Top Rated Gym is your trusted resource for growth and success. Let's build stronger, thriving gyms, one episode at a time.
Why are we in the business? Why did you start your business? Pretty much is to make money doing what you love doing. Now, most people start doing what they want to do, what they love to do, what their passion is, but they don't think much about profitability. They become slave of their business instead of owners. What do you need to do differently to make the business great, not just a great job? Today's guest is Lauren Schoenfeld, a seasoned expert in finance and business operations. Guys with a wealth of experience in helping fitness studios just like yours optimize your financial strategy for sustainable growth. Now, as a founding member of Black Unicorn and with a background in finance transforming at Equinox, Lauren has worked extensively with the multi-location gyms and fitness franchises to streamline their operations, that's where the money is hidden, and enhance their profitability. Today, we have such a pleasure to dive deep into what's most effective financial strategy for gym owners. Guys, if you're listening this in the car, I would tell you pull over because you're about to experience something incredible. Lauren, so happy to have you. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. What a lovely introduction. I'm so happy to be here talking about all things finance, and we'll make it fun. I promise. I know there's a lot of finance is the boring subject of business, but I actually think it's where the freedom comes from in your business, really understanding your numbers and how to pull levers and your data to drive profitability and decisions. And once you figure out that secret sauce for your business, it's just rocket ships away.
I love it. And listen, I'm so passionate about this conversation coming up. But before we do it, let's give a little quick introduction to our listeners. Who is Lauren, and how did you get passionate about this? Can you give us a little bit introduction about your background and, including your time in Equinox, maybe, and WeWork?
Yeah, the way that this business came to fruition is I've been an athlete my entire life. And then after my athletic career came to a halt and started going to college and doing the young adult thing, I went into finance and working for a big consulting firm, PricewaterhouseCoopers. And so I, for a minute, kind of left my athletic roots to the side and I pursued this corporate ladder climb. I moved to New York City, worked in real estate, went to do pre-IPO at WeWork. If you've watched any of those documentaries, that was my life for better or worse. And feeling a little burnt out by the startup corporate grind. And then I got the opportunity to work at Equinox. And it felt that this beautiful blend of being able to use the finance and accounting and strategy that I've accumulated in my career so far, but also get back to my roots of being an athlete and really being able to focus on my health and wellness. And the whole pitch at Equinox was fantastic. They were like, yeah, you can take a break at your lunch and go work out. And I was like, I'm sold, sign me up. Where do I sign my offer letter? So that was how I first got in the intersection of working on the fitness side. Now, because I was an athlete, I was an early ClassPass user in New York City, talking those early 2013 days when it was just the peak in the boutique fitness industry in New York City. And I was like, wow, this is so fun. This is so cool. I was new to New York City. It's how I made all my friends. It's how I met one of our co-founders, Jamie, through one of the toughest workouts in New York City. If any of you New Yorkers are here, 2014 Tone House in Union Square was a workout I've never had. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm back in Hell Week from high school soccer days. And so Jamie and I met there. And I just really, really fell in love with the boutique fitness industry. And as an athlete, knowing how I make community is through fitness and through working out, it just felt like okay, great. This is what I do now. And so then when I got to Equinox, and I was able to help grow their business. I got in like 2016, which was a really cool time because it was right before a ton of expansion happened at Equinox. And so I helped them grow their portfolio from about like 80-ish clubs to
Mhm.
105 by the time that I left. Really worked on the London expansion. And then got the opportunity to do a lot of like really fun entrepreneurial endeavors that the business was leaning into. So I helped set up the retreats business. I worked on the Hudson Yards expansion. I worked on Precision Run Lab and Project by Equinox and the Soul Cycle bike during COVID, the whole on demand transition. And so I just got to see what it is like to take an idea from concept to fruition and how the strategy to open up these new concepts and then my role was to be the liaison between the VPs and the strategic leaders and the finance team. So really helping them understand their P&Ls, understand their numbers, the expectations that HQ had for hitting results, and how do we empower all of these like smaller business units to grow their own business so they can exist inside the bigger Equinox infrastructure.
I love it. And that's why we love having you here, because that vast experience. And today, guys, what we want to deliver to you is first understanding what it takes, right? Starting with literacy, language, understanding KPIs. What are the important things when scaling your business? And we'll cover challenges people face and business owners face with P&Ls and KPIs and so on. So in the world of finances, nothing gets to grow unless you know where you are. KPIs, measurement, key performance indicators, right? Maybe not the sexiest topic, but what I want to say, it's one of the most important. You don't grow unless you have KPI. This is not a should, it's a must. What do you say?
We created a system called Metric Monday, and again, trying to
Oof.
just make data input fun. So, how can we make it fun? Metric Monday, we like to help our owners create processes and routines. And so, I always say, if you're the owner and you're the one doing Metric Monday, how can we make it fun for you? Can you go to your favorite coffee shop and treat yourself to a coffee while you're doing this, or whatever that is for you? Make it fun. So, from our standpoint, we like to focus, we call them the core 7 KPIs. And these KPIs are really focused on the top line acquisition and retention and understanding how full your classes are. Now, there are so many KPIs under the sun that we can focus on. But when we're talking about what are the core metrics that we need to start with, and we always say master these. And then once we get these in a good place, we have more that we can use to better understand our business. But let's just start small. Let's keep it simple first. And so with
Yes.
all of our new clients, we keep it simple with these core 7. Now I'm assuming
So
they
let's
want to know
dive
what the
into
core
this.
7 are. Yeah, let's do it.
And let's dive into it
Um,
because, guys, just one thing. We know KPIs is nothing new, probably in your world of scaling businesses. But one key here, make it fun. When you make it fun, surround yourself in an environment or place or situations or people so you can look forward doing this, not as a draining energy. That's new for me.
yeah,
I'm going to take it. I'm going to be reviewing my scorecard in a Starbucks next time.
perfect. And if you bring a team member, then you can expense that nice Starbucks coffee of yours.
Or quarterly, I'll go in Europe trip and bring my team member there.
There you
So
go.
we'll have offline, really quarterly planning trips.
Love that. Yes.
So let's go into it. Can you enlighten us? Do you mind if you share what 7 important Monday metrics are?
Yep, absolutely. So the first one is first timers. We want to understand how many people are coming into your studio that are new and what specific offer they're coming in on. Ideally, they are coming in off your intro offer, but we know that's not always the case. Some people come in off a guest pass. Some people come in off of maybe you're doing a special event or workshop or a drop in, or for some reason they bought a 5-pack or a 10-pack, which is also great. They just kind of skipped the intro process and just dove right in. And we love that. So, how many first timers are coming in and where are they coming from? And the where are they coming from is important so you know how to follow up with them and making sure the automations in your system are supporting each kind of offer from an introductory nurture automation concept, which I know is something that you and your team really, really excel in. After first timers, we want to know how many intro offers are sold. So like I said, ideally your first timer is coming in off of your intro offer, but that's not always the case.
Mm-hmm.
And then from intro offer, we want to know how many new members are sold. So if we had, let's make a really easy number, 100 intro offers and we sold 50 memberships, then our conversion is 50%, right?
Mm-hmm.
And understanding the conversion from first timer to intro offer and then intro offer to membership gives us so much data and gives us so much insight as to where in your acquisition and sales process are you doing well and where are some opportunity areas. Before I get into the last four, a really quick caveat here. A lot of times we hear studio owners say, I just need more members. I just need more people coming into the business. But then we look at this and we see you have 100 intro offers that are sold in the month, but you only brought in 15 to 20 memberships. So I would argue you actually don't have a top of funnel problem. You're bringing in 100 people a month, but we're only converting between 15 and 20%. So the opportunity area actually is around the sales process and how are we delivering the experience? What is the gap there that's not allowing our people to come back?
I love that. And when you, quick question, and I know we have more than what you said here. When you look at the data, who do you look with? Are you looking by yourself? Owners should be looking by themselves or with a team who are participating in execution of this data?
Yeah, it's a great question. In the beginning, when we're working with a client, we like them to do the KPI tracker for at least a couple weeks, just so they can understand what they're doing. And then we would love for them to hand it off to their studio manager or whoever is leading the operations, whether that's a senior like front desk coordinator or some kind of role. And then when we're looking at the data, it's absolutely looking at it together with the team so they can be empowered to understand the numbers as well. And whoever owns that process, ideally our studio manager, they're looping in their team to understand, okay, this week or last week we had 30 intro offers. And so really making sure everybody is up to date with who is coming in on the intro offer, so we can have those nurturing conversations. So when it comes time to that intro offer being completed, maybe it's a 2-week unlimited. At the end of the 2 weeks, in our ideal process, we've done such a good job that at the end of the 2 weeks, they're like, great, I'm going to go on the 12 a month membership. Here's my credit card. So it's less about having to sell them and it's more nurturing them through the process. So by the end, the credit card is just a formality.
Yeah, it's a paper documenting process. And what I love about scorecard or KPIs, it tells you who is not doing their job.
Yeah.
It clarifies where and the whole process is a pain point. Because you might say, I need more members and give me more leads and put them more money on the top of the funnel in the Facebook ads. But at the end, problem might not be where you are thinking to be. And most of the time is not. Most of the time is not. Yeah. So this is incredible for conversion. Super simple, very valuable. But when you look at the data, do you look at the data as one snapshot, give me for this week, or you look at the trends, see how things change over time?
Yeah, so we in our KPI tracker, we have 2 tabs. We have a weekly tab and a monthly tab. So every Monday we look updated on the weekly tab so we can look at trends. So we like to look at patterns and outliers. What is consistently happening and where is the data spiking up or spiking down, because that can give us information and insight into potential seasonality. Maybe there was something that changed. Like if utilization is pretty consistent and then it spikes down, maybe it's not just because of summer slowdown or it's not just because of the holidays. Was there any changes in instructors and in classes where those classes aren't performing as well as they should be? Like what is causing this, the spike down or the spike up? And we just really encourage our owners just to get curious. I always say if we're in a growth-minded standpoint where we're making conscious, mindful decisions in our business, there is no wrong decision. You did nothing wrong because all we can do is just make the best decision with the data that we have today and adjust along the way. So if something didn't work to your expectation, that's not a problem. You learned something from it if you're able to have the curiosity to understand what that learning point was. And then we just make a shift and try it again. And like, that's the beauty of entrepreneurship. And I feel like if I take a look at the clients that we work with that are successful and profitable, that is the mindset that they have adapted. It's leadership first, curiosity, and always learning from their decisions. There's no bad decisions because they're going to learn something from that so we can adjust and make a better decision the next time.
So I would put a question for the audience now. You guys are listening to this. How many of you have consistently, weekly reviewed and updated your KPIs and made decisions based on it? Just this top of the funnel or conversion metrics. So let me remind you, first time, right? First timers, then second one is intro offer sold, third one is new member count. And then comparison, conversion from intro to membership. These basic four, and we'll talk about three more. How many of you have nailed this and you're doing it on a weekly basis? Now, let's talk about other two. You said you have 7 at the beginning of the call.
Yep.
So let's dive into the other 3.
First 4. First timers, intro offers, new member account, conversion. And then we like to look at churn or attrition, how many members are leaving the business. So we know what our risk number is that we need to make up with higher acquisition numbers. And we're always going to have churn and attrition. It's okay. I have some owners who really freak out when members leave. And it's just a natural part of any subscription business. So it's not about members leaving. It's about how are we managing the attrition or the churn number to what the business can sustain. So a churn anywhere between like 3 and 7%, I think is really healthy given seasonality, depending on the months and your market. And there's so many factors. If you're consistently over 10% in attrition, then I think there's just an opportunity area for us to really dial down and figure out why are so many people leaving the business? Is it seasonality? Is there something else going on? Is there a gap or an opportunity area in the customer experience? Do we need to add more classes so your members have capacity to fulfill their membership and come in consistently? So there's a lot of things that we can look at, but seeing the trend for these is like the first place that we start, right? Number 6 is active member count. So we want to know how many active members that you have. The way that we coach, and it has been, it shifts with the market and where the economy is, but we love membership revenue. I love a good MRR, monthly recurring revenue. I truly believe monthly recurring revenue from memberships provides financial freedom, confidence, and ease for your business. Because when you can confidently know that, okay, last month, I brought in $50K in membership revenue. So I'm more likely going to bring in a little bit more than $50K this month because I'm going to have new sales that are going to outweigh my attrition. And so showing the incremental growth in MRR month over month, it just gives a lot of confidence to business owners. And we know that cash flow is way more predictable and attainable than our class pack holders. We still love our class pack holders. There is a place for everyone in our business. But the model that we like to lean into is really focusing on that MRR growth. That's why active member count is important, because we have set specific goals on where your active member count should be at the end of each month to help you continue growing your MRR. So we want to track how that is going.
So every one of these metrics, every one of these metrics have a position where you are now and what a target should be, right? Like looking at the data without knowing is this good or bad means nothing. So you need to have some kind of expectations, and how well are you advancing towards those expectations? 10% churn rate, alarming, right? You got to do something. Put it down to 3% goal and keep optimizing, or 5%. But without knowing what's your expectations, nothing matters.
Yep.
And sorry, you said the last one is?
I was going to plus one on what your comment, because I think a lot of people might think from that, well, how do I know what my expectations should be? And it's a
Yes.
great question you all should be asking. And the first thing that we do is look at your KPI trends. What has been happening the last month? So, like I said, we have a weekly tab and a monthly tab. I want to see for the last 12 months, what is your churn? What has your attrition been doing? And then we can benchmark based on what we did last year with knowing what strategic initiatives we have to improve that metric. I would say one big thing that I noticed from my corporate experience is when you're a big company like an Equinox or any other corporate, you have your FPA team who has to create the metrics and create the budgets that are going to arrive at the profit number that the business needs to hit. So they're going to tell you, okay, we need churn to be 3%. But if churn historically was 12% for this particular month, like we can't just magically reduce churn by 9%. Like what are the strategic initiatives that we are
Mm-hmm.
going to do to reduce the churn? And so I just think that's a really important concept, because having a metric and wanting to improve that metric without having a plan on how to improve it is not really setting anybody up for success.
That's right. Not even worth reading it if you don't know how to and where to target and work towards it. I love it. And in my company we have something called 1% a day improvement. Everybody has a number. Every department has a number. Every project has a scorecard. And we always aim just to do tiny little 1% a daily. And when you think it's nothing, everybody can make 1% progress on a small change. But if you do it 365 days a year, it's not 365%. It's 3,700. It compounds, right? Percentages build on top of what's already increased. It's geometrical change, not linear. And that's why this is
the
incredible.
James Clear? Is that who the 1% better? I remember reading a book a couple of years ago about like the 1% better. Is that from James Clear, or is that a
I
different
learned it from
author?
Tony Robbins. I don't know who got
Tony
it from
Robbins.
who.
Okay. Okay. That sounds right. Cool.
They said if you fold paper 64 times, right, you get distance from here to the moon. People brain cannot grasp that. If you make a linear progress 30 times, you make 30 feet, right? 30 yards distance. But if you do 30 exponential steps, that everyone is double than one before, you are arriving at the moon. That compounding effect really makes a big change. You extend lifetime value by reducing retention. Suddenly you get more budget so you can advertise on different channels that might be providing you with better quality members. That brings you more members that last longer. That increases lifetime value. Everything piles on top of each other. So that's why it's important not to work on one, but of all seven. And we'll talk about what the seventh one is soon. Guys, this is not a should. This is not a theory. This is how you create a freedom. Without operational efficiency, without financial literacy, without discipline, nothing works. Period. And you are in struggle of doing operations. We'll talk about that. So without further, what is the number 7 one?
Like we should do like a drum roll.
There we go.
Number 7 is utilization. So class utilization.
So how do we measure that? Is it class or total capacity? Because they have 10 classes, for example, in a day.
Yeah. So if you have 10 classes and each class has 10 spots, you have 100 spots. And if you have 90 out of 100 people in your class, then 90% utilization. So what is the percentage of spots that are booked and used in your class?
I love that. And then
Like
how you can create a
the
percentage of utilization, how you can create a percentage of, that's your top line capacity. You cannot become $2 million business if you don't have a spots for serving that many members. You can't become $100,000 a month business unless you have capacity to do it. And this is your capacity utilization. How much you need to expand, plus how can you fill up what you got? Number one of utilization is like, is there a matrix that people should aim in, let's say, boutique business?
Yeah, great question. I was just wanting to talk about that. So you read my mind. I feel like a lot of times I hear owners be like, oh, I want to have 90% utilization, which is, it sounds like a really cool metric.
Mhm.
But with a 90% consistent utilization, that means your classes are full, which I know is very exciting and very cool. However, if your classes are full, then your potential for further growth potentially could be limited. Because how are we going to get new
Mhm.
people into your studio if your classes are always full? Just think if I came in on a 2 week unlimited and there was no spots for me to take class, I'm going to get frustrated. It's not going to be the best client experience for myself. And depending on the format or the class and the cannibalization of that format in your market, they might just go somewhere else because you don't have capacity in your studio. So
Mhm.
if we're hitting a high utilization, like anything above 85, it's, I will say, one of the good problems to have. Like I'd rather us have this problem than your utilization be like 55% because we just can't get people in your
Yep.
studio. So if we're at a closer 85, 90, even 80% utilization, it's a really good opportunity to look at our class schedule and really look where we can optimize. Where can we add new classes in? Looking at the data for each class to see like which classes are actually driving profitability versus what classes are hurting our
Mhm.
profit. For a very specific example, if you are a studio that has a lot of unlimited members, and those unlimited members really take advantage of that unlimited membership, which we
Mhm.
love. And maybe your Friday at 8 a.m. spot is full of your unlimited members. And it is also taught by your most expensive instructor. Your
Mhm.
profit for that class is going to be
Interesting.
significantly reduced because we're spending a lot of money on an instructor and the price per class that we're getting from our all access unlimited members is going to be the lowest. Now, that doesn't mean we have to make a decision. It's just being very aware of what classes are driving profit and what classes are not. And is there a change that we can make to optimize the schedule to drive more profit? So that whole schedule optimization conversation, it's a specific offer that we have at ActiveCore. You work with a couple of our operations coaches who really dive into this, and this is their specialty. So we can make small changes in your business. It's kind of like the 1% better conversation we were just having. Sometimes changing
Mhm.
little small things on your schedule can lead to big numbers. We just did this for a client a few months ago, and the change that the team made drove, I believe it was $20,000 in anticipated revenue over the next 12 months from that one change, which is huge.
I
So
believe it.
much revenue.
Yes. And
Yeah.
guys, once you start doing this, this is just a little teaser. This conversation is like a trailer of Oscar winning movie, What's Possible. Once you start digging and discovering every opportunity from individual class profitability to individual employee performance to individual part of the funnel options, what can you make better? It's a game changer. But that doesn't stop there. There's so much more later on that you discover because you got hungry for profits. You start seeing cost, you start seeing where the money comes in, and you start seeing when the money comes out. And then you start looking into both things parallel. It's almost like never ending. When we started this, I was blind. I was burning money in my company. I was like, no,
Mm.
growth at any price. Just grow, grow, grow. And we were growing 50% year over year. And then I find myself not having a profit, just growth. Like, no, that's not a business. Yes, growth is awesome, but where's the money? And then I
Mm.
hired really smart people who came in and totally redesigned everything. Another story to be told. But without doing this, you will enslave yourself. You're not going to go on those vacations you want to.
Yeah.
Talking
Yeah, and
about
just I
this,
just want to talk
go
about
ahead.
that for a second because I think that's such a good call out. And if I feel like specifically in the 2010 to 2020 era, especially in the startup world, that was the conversation. It was just like grow at any cost, grow, grow, grow. But at the end of the day, it's like, well, there's no profit left. And speaking specifically to my time at WeWork, and for our small business boutique fitness owners, we don't have the luxury of having these huge investors just giving us millions of dollars to play with to grow at all costs. So when we're looking at your health of your business, it's looking at your top line revenue, looking at these KPI metrics. But I would be remiss to say we also really have to focus on expense management, expense optimization,
Mhm.
and expense control, because, profit and loss statement, you have your revenue less your expenses gives you your profit. And if you're spending more than what you should be spending on specific areas, you're just draining your profit. And then it's going to feel like you're on this like hamster wheel and you can't
Mhm.
get off the hamster wheel. And that's what
Yes.
causes burnout and frustration and aggravation. And now we can't show up as our most authentic, grounded CEO to lead the team because we are depleted. And then that will just infiltrate through your entire team and your entire business. And we don't want that.
Yes, and that's where the big difference is between being the owner. Question for you who is listening. Are you the business owner? Really? Or you are a business operator?
Mm.
So what is the operator? Operator is the guy who have to do it all. That have hard time taking vacation, that is being called every time employee messed something out or can't show up. You are the one filling in the gaps. The business cannot run and operate without you. It's a huge level of stress about financials, availability, not predictable future. And can you scale it without scaling your time? So are you an owner or you have expensive job or you operate? All right. So one of your strengths, the last time we touched that, and I would love if you can go deeper into this, what it takes for somebody to become CEO, like CEO of their business, owner of the business, really had a leader, not just a doer.
Yeah. We have created a foundations program that really helps you understand what are the foundations that you need to have set in your business so you can step out of that operator role and into your CEO role. And this is something I just want to be like super transparent. I'm still working through this in my business. I'll say like I may be like a year out, maybe not even a year out of being the everything in the business, the marketing, the client success, working with clients, managing the team, growing the business, going to conference. And it was so much. And I was getting very burnt out. So like I knew I needed to actually start, what's that analogy? Doing what I preach or
Yes, yes, yes.
yeah,
Walking the
yeah,
walk.
thank you. Walking the walk. Yes, yes. And so I hired an integrator following the EOS
Mm.
framework
Oh, yeah.
about six months ago, I think it was.
There you go.
And since then, do you have it?
I love the book.
It's if two books that I highly recommend everybody to read in their entrepreneurial journey are Who, Not How by Dan Sullivan. Have you read that one?
Yes.
Of course you have. Yeah, it's so good, right? It's like a staple. And that will help you understand that when you want something done, you should not be the one doing it. You need to find your who. Who is the best person to execute on this task or this role? And then after you get that in a good place, then read um, Traction. Is that the one that you have? That's the one that
Traction
I read.
is
Traction.
education on
Yeah.
US. Absolutely.
Yep. Yep. For the EOS framework. So you can be the visionary, be your CEO, and have that integrator or the operator to help you perform these tasks. So
And how to
how do we get
plan
you
your year,
ready
how to
for,
do a quarters, how to
yes,
do team engagement, what to give your team to read. This is like 4 hour read that everybody in my company have to read as they join the company. It's a mindset, it's operating
beautiful.
system. It's how you start
Yeah.
the meeting, how you start the day, how you finish it. It's designed for high performance teams, and also eliminate those who are not.
Yeah.
It's alignment, and everybody pushing and pulling in the same direction. Elon Musk calls it vectors. Everybody in the company is a vector. Either you're pulling in the same direction where company is directed, or you're not. If you're not, you're out.
Yeah.
Really great book. I love US, and more gyms are applying it. It's applicable to
Yes,
pretty
it's
much
very
every
exciting.
business.
It's a really, really cool framework. Yeah, I love it. So let's talk about what are these foundations that we believe are going to, or not, we know they're going to set you up for success to be able to hire your integrator, hire your operator. So we have a course called Foundations, Finance and Flow Foundations, that goes through all of this. And just to give you some high level insight into what are the different modules and things that you will learn to help you set up. The first thing we dive into is your money mindset.
Mm.
And why this is so important is because I have seen in myself and my clients that you can be given all the strategy in the world. I can give you a beautiful business plan. Andre can give you exactly what to do in marketing to hit these goals that we have in your business plan. But if you have subconscious limiting beliefs that are holding you back from being able to step into your leadership role, then it's going to stunt your growth. And it's
Mm.
something, at least for me, I didn't even know this was something that was stunting my growth until I started working with a money mindset coach to help me uncover all of these things. Because I was like, I don't know why this feels way harder than it should be. And when I started doing this work, I realized there were so many learned behaviors and patterns from society, from our parents, from our caregivers, whoever we had growing up. For me, a lot of it also came from my early corporate days on what is supposed to happen with money and work. So I learned very early in my life that making money is really hard. So in order to
Mm.
be successful, you have to work really hard and you have to be stressed. Being
Yeah.
stressed means you're making money.
Yeah. Trade time for
And that
money.
and that's not fun.
Mm-mm.
Like not fun at all.
Hmm.
It causes burnout and anxiety, which is the antithesis of being able to grow your business. So that was my big overarching block that I really
Work
was
harder,
working
work
through.
longer, work smarter. It's all about
Yes.
you. You doing it's a linear thinking. There's only
Hmm.
so many hours. I was the one as well doing 100 hours a week,
Yeah.
doing everything and anything. It's like, no, there's a limit. I'm at my full capacity. And always thinking I can do better than somebody else.
Hmm. Yep.
It was a
And
mindset
really like
problem.
identifying what are those ego drivers that have drove you to do your business, and not saying that they're all necessarily bad, like it's the motivation that got you here, but
Hmm.
sometimes those ego drivers are also what's holding us back. And so
Most of the
something
time.
that I've really tried to adopt in the past couple years is, of course, I have a method that we've created, but I'm not stuck to this method. If
Mhm.
there is a better way to do it, I am all ears. If we're doing this method for a client and they need it to be shifted a little bit, great, let's shift it. This is just like a template, a starting point. And that's why we work one-on-one with clients, because we really want to make sure that our methodology is tailored to every single person in business, depending on what their background is and who they have on their team. So I just think it's really important to put your ego aside, understand where your money beliefs came from and how that's impacting your ability to have a successful business. So there's a whole module we do on money mindset because I want you to understand and just be aware of what these triggers are, because they're going to come up throughout the program and they're going to
Yeah.
come up throughout your entrepreneurial journey. So that's the big first thing we do. KPIs, we believe data is not scary. It's your CEO power. We just talked about all of that. So we have 2 modules where we help you actually learn to fill out this weekly and this monthly tab on our KPI tracker. And then we have a whole KPI strategy module to really help you understand how do you look at trends and how do you look at outliers to make better decisions in your business. We give you a bunch
Mhm.
of real world examples of showing our co-founder Lisa taking clients through their KPI tracker so you can see in real time how this works. Sometimes I feel like we can give you the strategy, we can tell you what to do, but until you see it in action, that's when it
Mhm.
really clicks. So we want to be able to give you the education and then the real world application so you can understand how to put it in your business.
I love that.
Um,
So first one
yeah.
is internal problem, mindset. You'll never make
Yeah.
more money than you believe it's the right thing to do. So position yourself as a really, really successful person. I do this with the
Mhm.
kids. I did it with my son as well
Yes.
because he was happy with some kind of cheap job making some money. I was like, hey, what are you gonna do when you really become a man? Like, I can do this. I
Mhm.
was like, no, let's put some numbers in place. Let's see how much money it takes to raise the family and be a man of the house.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whoa, it was education.
Oof. I think
Oh,
it's
yeah.
such a I think we're at such a beautiful place in, I think we're at such a beautiful place in, I think we're at such a beautiful place in, I think we're at such a beautiful place in, I think we're at such a beautiful place in, I think we're at such a beautiful place in, I think we're at such a beautiful place in, I think we're at such a beautiful place in, I think we're at such a beautiful place in, I think we're at such a beautiful place in, I think we're at such a beautiful place in, I think we're at such a beautiful place in, I think we're at such a beautiful place in, I think we're at such a beautiful place in, I think we're at such a beautiful place in, I think we're at such a beautiful place in, I think we're at such a beautiful place in, I think we're at such a beautiful place in, I think we're at such a beautiful place in, I think we're at such a beautiful place in, I think we're at such a beautiful place in, I think we're at such a beautiful place in, I think we're at such a beautiful place in, I think we're at such a beautiful place in, I think we're at such a beautiful place in, I think we're at such a beautiful place in, I think we're at such a beautiful place in, I think we're at the world, I guess we can call it, because there's so many entrepreneurs, and all of our entrepreneurs are having children. So the children are being raised watching their parents be entrepreneurs. If
Yes.
I can't, that's just like a real world MBA education as they're growing up. So I think it's like I get so
Mhm.
excited for all of my clients and their kids because they're just watching their parents build these really successful businesses. What are the habits? What are the things that are allowing this to happen? And they're just naturally learning that. Like, how cool is that? I just think it's so
Yeah.
special.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay. So we talked about money mindset. We talked about KPIs. My next one that we love to help owners through is what's called an owner pay roadmap.
Hmm.
And what I mean by this is I think the owner is the number one priority, a person who needs to get paid in the business. I know it's a mic drop moment. I know a lot of people don't believe me. They're like, oh, well, I need to pay the team. I need to pay my rent. I have to pay X, Y, and Z bills. And I totally get it. We got to pay all the bills. But my point is, if we're not setting our business up to be able to pay you as the owner, going back to what Andre said earlier, we're not actually building a business. We're having a really expensive job that's not paying us. We're like
Hmm.
running a charity.
Yeah. Doing things for not paying. I mean, even in a religious book says God created his own beard. If you go to airplane, it says put the mask on yourself 1st.
Mm-hmm.
Take care of your emotions, your mindset. There's even a book that says profit first. Pay yourself
Oh,
first and then
love
put a
profit first.
profit,
Yeah.
and then whatever is remain, deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
I was
Yeah.
like, you're never gonna become profitable unless this is a first line item. Take money out and then optimize what's remaining. I love that.
Yeah. And
Honor
I
paid.
think a lot of times what I've seen is owners don't even know how much money they need to live their life. There's like,
Yeah.
I just need more money. I need more money. I need more money. Well, like, what is more? Do we need $7,000 a month in the business? Do we need $20,000 a month business? Like, what is that number? And getting clarity on that number, again, just helps us plan. And maybe we can't start by paying you $7,000 a month. That's totally fine. Can we pay you three?
I'll
Can we
tell you
pay
the
you
story that
something?
shocked me, Lauren.
Ooh,
I have a
please.
friend. I'm not going to use the name. I'll keep his name confidential. But he owns, let's say, 40 to 50 locations franchise, or not franchise, like a location chain. And the person spends probably over $3 million personal expenses. Travels
Oh, wow.
220 days a year. He works 4 hours a week on a Monday, comes from 9 till 1, right? And that's it. And all what he
Oh,
talks is about discipline and finances and profitability. And it's just strict, so strict. And there's such a highest level of discipline on how you make money, spend money, and all these KPIs. Everything that you're saying now reminded me of him. And he's an example of how to live a life of fulfillment.
that's really
Travel the
cool.
world all the time. 220
Such an
days
ex-
on the road. Hey, you
Is
can
he traveling
have a
for
good
fun?
lifestyle with 3 million. That's 250K a month.
Yeah. Wow. What an
This is what we're
expander for
talking.
all of us. 4 hours a week, making 250K a month. Sign me up. That sounds fun.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's why we think the owner pay roadmap is so important. We need to understand how much money do you need to live your life, and how can we build that into your growth plan so you are paying yourself, being able to support your family, and we're not feeding the burnout by not paying ourselves.
I agree.
And then kind of going into what you were saying before, our next one is expense benchmarking. So if we need to pay ourselves and we need to have a profit, how much money should we be spending on these different expense buckets in our business versus industry standard and where we are? So we have specific expense benchmarks, and I'll just call out a couple that I think
Mm.
are really good to talk about here. Is payroll as a percentage of
Yes.
revenue. So in a healthy business, we like to see payroll between 20 and 30% of your overall
Mm.
revenue.
Yes. So you need to
And
know how much you should be paying for something. What's your payroll revenue? What's your advertising cost? What's your vendor cost? What's your cost of real estate and lease compared to the number of people you can place in. If you don't know benchmark, you are being ripped off.
Yeah.
One of the biggest
And
reasons
sometimes
why.
it's just really hard to know, like, how much should I be spending on my business? I'm 2 years in and we're still growing. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like the hugest question I get from clients. How do I know how much to spend on my business? And that's why we created this expense benchmarking, because like this is what you should be spending. These are industry standards, and it just helps you bring again awareness to where you are and where there's opportunity areas. If your payroll is over 40% of your revenue, and I guess to clarify, I don't put owner pay in that bucket. This is just studio team payroll
That's right.
should be between 20 and 30%. If you're at 40% of your team payroll, there's definitely some opportunity areas where we can help you streamline payroll and increase top line revenue so that percentage gets closer to that 30%. One that I'm sure is very prevalent to you and your clients is marketing. How much should we be
Yeah.
spending on marketing? So I generally say you should be spending between 5 and 10% of your revenue on marketing. And then
Mm-hmm.
the question is, okay, if I am spending 5 to 10% of my rev on marketing, but I'm not really seeing any growth, then that marketing spend that we're spending isn't optimized. That's a good plug-in for Andre. If you're spending 5 and 10% of your revenue on marketing and you're not seeing results, contact my new friend Andre and have him and his team help you figure out why your marketing isn't working. Because if you're spending that much money on marketing and
Mm-hmm.
in the correct range, we should be seeing results. So if we're not, great, let's spend that money somewhere else so you can get results.
And I'll tell what will this tell you, and having somebody with Lauren who knows the benchmark, who is working with a bunch of other relevant competing businesses, but has ability to understand where you're wrong. When I looked at my cost of goods sold, I did not know benchmark until I found that my competition is offering text messages cheaper than what I'm paying as a source raw cost of Twilio. I was like, I'm being ripped. So I went for shopping and I negotiated 90% discount. 90 guys.
Wow.
90. And it was such a rough negotiation that when we almost agreed at 60, you're like, no. Just because you ripped me off for all 11 years back, I'm going down to 90.
Good
And they
for
sign
you.
agreement. Now we as a company, as a referizer, can pass the discount and offers absolutely. I can now offer cheaper messages than Twilio can offer to many clients. And I'm still profitable because I negotiated on behalf of myself and I can be competitive like nobody else can do it. But, and I'm saving tens of thousands of dollars a month just on the same service that I used to pay a lot more. Crazy.
I love that.
And everything you can negotiate. Every existing vendor, just threaten them that you will cancel and then you will see how far they go.
Yeah, I think that's such a good call out because as the CEO of our businesses, we're the only ones that are going to stand up. Like we have to look out for ourselves and our business. And I always say everything is negotiable. I'm a big contract negotiator.
That's
I'm
right.
sure my vendors don't love that, but it works good for us in the business.
But I advise everybody, even when we
I
do
do too.
price
Yeah.
increase for our clients, it was like, okay, we're increasing price. We haven't done it ever, right? I give my clients 3 choices. Accept the increase, do nothing, or switch to annual pay, protect the price, or ask for exception. You know that only 5% people ask for exception.
Oh, interesting.
So
And what did they ask for exception? Like what were the common
financial
reasons?
struggles, financial challenges, and so on, right? But I'm telling you, even if you go to ChatGPT and you say, find me the best coupon deal that this company ever run in the past, you will find Black Friday deals for half off and call them up for that, right? ChatGPT can give you ultimate power. You will find out, and especially if you go for big companies like ZoomInfo that charges $20,000 a month or a year for license or $50,000. I like working with brand new salespeople who want to prove themselves and they'll get a deal just to sign up that account. And then 50% is standard that you can go after, half off. Mark my words, try it. And then go back to vendors and negotiate. It's going to be fun. I love that one.
Cool. And then we have two more topics that are really going to help you get into your CEO seat and prepare to step out of your operator seat. And these are like the two biggest ones: team organization and payroll structure. How do you want to set up your team? What are the roles and responsibilities that you need to have to be able to get yourself out of the operator? So it's really getting clear on what you need. And we have a whole ideal structure for a single location versus multi-location. This is all mapped out for you. So we want you to build the team that finally lets you step out of the weeds. And the only way to do that is building the team, just like Andre was talking about earlier, of people who are probably smarter than you. Maybe not at everything, but it's getting really clear on like what are the gaps in what maybe your skill set is, or the way that you think, the way that you approach different dynamics, and find somebody who can complement you. If you just find a copycat of yourself, it might not be the best solution because there's still going to be some gaps. So it's getting, again, really clear on who you are as a CEO, what is your zone of genius, what do you enjoy doing, and what can you offload and what you can offload. Find the skill set for that.
And Lauren, if I may add, this book as well, what we mentioned before, What the Heck is US, or Entrepreneurship Operating System, talks about right people, right seats. We hire people just because we like them sometimes. We put a job description and then ask them to do different things. We set expectations, but we then ask different things to expect from them. This is wrong. You want to have right people doing the right things all the time. And when I used to hire family and employees' family, we encourage this family environment. Find myself that people are doing things they never qualified to do. They are willing to do, but they're not good at it. So hire a person, expert, who is going to teach you how it's done. There's so many out there, trained well, but be very, very articulate in this part. I'm so glad that this is on your list, and it's absolutely critical part. Team, guys, critical part.
And we're also really big on variable compensation. So how can we structure the role so you have some sort of base pay, whether it's a base salary or a base hourly rate? And then they're, again, going back to the KPIs we were talking about earlier, everybody owns a KPI. And then their quarterly, monthly, however, what cadence you think is best for your team and your business, their additional pay is based on how well the business is hitting the KPI. It's very, very simple. And it really empowers the team to own that KPI and also own the growth, because the more they grow the KPI, the more money the business makes, so the more money they make.
And I love this conversation. We can talk for an hours, and I want to keep it as well. Brief. Oh my God, this is going to be sequence, guys, of financial conversation. But to give an example, to wrap up with the example, and we'll definitely have a follow-up. What would you say? Can you give us any success story, any example of people who were struggling or who apply what you guys doing and see the benefit for their life, for their emotions, for their business, for the growth? Is there opportunity? Or I didn't want to put you in a spot, but I would love.
No, it's okay. I'm like, there's so many stories. Which one can I choose? Okay, one of my favorite stories, and I think this is going to resonate with a lot of your listeners. So a lot of times we have studio owners come to us and they're like, I don't get it. My classes are packed. I have exceptional client feedback. My Google reviews are off the charts. Everybody loves coming to my studio. The vibes are great. The team is happy. But when I look at my P&L, there's like no profit. I don't understand what we're doing wrong.
Where's the money?
Where's the money? Where's it go? Where is it going? And I'm curious if this is resonating with the audience that's listening to this, because I know I hear it a lot from our clients. And so what is happening in the business when the vibes are fantastic, classes are packed, but we're not profiting? Well, the first couple of things that we look at is we look at that expense benchmarking. Where are you spending more money than you should based on your revenue? And for this particular client, her operating expenses and her marketing was way high. And again, so it was over 10% of marketing was being spent, but she wasn't getting the results that we needed. So we dove into what is we spend so much money? And she was spending a bunch of money on a PR firm because she came from a PR background. So it like made sense. She knows PR works from her background, but for some reason it's not like working in this business. And so we cut the PR firm and we realigned that marketing spend to focus on her sales process. And our co-founder, Jamie, did our conversations to conversion sales training. She got new messaging and really focused in on the communication that everybody in the business has, from the front desk to the instructor to the automations and the follow-up. So like every person in the business is a salesperson. Whether we want that to be the case or not, everybody is a salesperson because everybody is delivering a very key part of the experience to ensure that you have members converting into your memberships and retention. So really focusing and reallocating her marketing spend. About a year later, she also invested into a digital marketing agency to really help with SEO and better quality content coming through her social channels. And that was a really big one for her. From a pricing standpoint, we realized that she only had an unlimited tier. And so from a reoccurring membership standpoint, it was just very low. And then she would run these big class pack sales. So her membership or her revenue in general was kind of like this, like very up and down. Remember what I said before? MRR, monthly recurring revenue, gives you financial freedom.
Yeah.
So we added a 4 and an 8-pack limited tier membership, did a bunch of really specific promotions that did not devalue the membership price. It added value to these limited membership tiers, and we were able to convert a ton of her class pack people onto memberships. So within a year of working together, she was at about, I think like 75 members, and close to, after like 1 year later, we were almost at 200. That was a big win. And now
guys, and
she's
that
with
is
us
incredible.
for
That's the same time you spend. A year will go by.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is recorded in January 2026. You might be listening January 2027, whenever you get to have your hands to this episode. Are you double more than last year? Or are you going to be double next year? I'm not making promises this education will double your business, but it's going to go incremental on your peace of mind, on your time with your family, on a budget, on a savings, on efficiency. It's not what we do. It's sometimes the things we don't do that cost us to fail. Honestly, if I'm you and you're in the world of gym, Lauren would be my best friend. you would be on her with her and her team on the call all the time, because there's no levels of how deep you can go in optimization, guys. We just scratched the surface here.
Yeah.
Just ask yourself, is every one of your teammates, your employees, salesperson? Do everybody push the clients towards membership? Do everybody do their best to retain them? Or are they going to say, it's not on my job description? It's not my job. Do they all align in the same direction? Are they all pulling toward the same outcome? And are you spending money there where you should be spending? Do you even know that? You know how many times people will just pay the bills, not even using the things. Yes, procrastination and cancellation works in your favor when your gym members don't come to you. But don't be the one who is paying for services you're never using.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
We have so many of those.
Yes.
Guys,
yes.
I know this conversation.
Doing an expense audit in my business constantly
On a monthly basis. I even have AI now that triggers like, what is this? I did not buy the software or vendor with permanent card in last 2 years. Every transaction I ever purchased, it's with virtual card, and I cancel it day after I purchase it. If I need it, they'll remind me, they'll send me notification, I'll put a real card in. But I don't want to just auto build for no reason. Think about it. There's so many ways. Guys, we'll continue this conversation. But Lauren, I got to ask you this on behalf of the audience. Sorry if I'm go direct. How can somebody get to talk to you on your team to find more information, maybe get auditor their business or get help?
Yeah, great question. So we're on Instagram, Active Core Consulting, website, activecoreconsulting.com. I'm sure we'll have all the links in the show notes. And if any of this was interesting and you're curious to learn more, the freebie that we're offering all of the podcast listeners is our expense benchmarking. So you will get the one pager that tells you all of the expenses and the percent ranges that those expenses should be in. And I will call this is like your first CEO task.
Wow.
And because this podcast is being recorded in January 2026, hopefully in the next couple weeks, you should be receiving your final 2025 P&Ls from your bookkeeper, which is great. Look at your revenue and all of these buckets that this worksheet is going to show you, and just understand how much money you're spending on your business and where are the opportunity areas. Is your payroll too high? Is your marketing too low? Where are you in this? And then if you want to work with us, the best place to start, if you want to understand all of the foundations that we talked about here, is our Finance and Flow Foundations program, where we go over money mindset and all the strategy you need to give yourself that foundation in your business. And then from there, we can work one-on-one with you. We have a VIP upgrade for the program. So if you're somebody that's like, I like doing things on my own so I can absorb the information, but I need that additional support to be able to integrate this into my business, we got you. You'll get one-on-one sessions with our team, and you can continue working with us after. We do projects, we do retainers. So there's so many ways to work with us depending on what your needs are. But let's just start small. Download our expense benchmark. It's going to be activecoreconsulting.com/podcast. We'll throw the link in the show notes. Download the expense benchmark, look at where you're at, and then jump into our Finance and Flow Foundations course. Right now, it's only $1,000, which for all the information that you're getting is a steal. And let's start taking control of your business together.
Wow, guys, this is how you increase your financial strength. This is how you do profitability lifting. This is how you take things to the next level, right? Do what you're doing for the clients for yourself. You can't be fat and carrying the fat all over it and trying to be in a higher end performance. You want a high end performance? Get lean, get strong, get profitable, but you got to work with the right people. That's where it starts. Yeah. Awesome. This is awesome. And Thank you for the offer.
Conversation.
Oh my God, guys, you want to know how well are you doing? Go take a benchmark. She's the only one. I interview hundreds of people. She's the only one who shared such a resource on this podcast.
Thank you.
Awesome. Lauren, you're incredible. This episode is such a blessing. It's eye-opening. It's incredible. And your charisma is contagious. I love working with you and talking to you. And guys, if you love what you're hearing, click share and subscribe, but also go to the resource that Lauren shared and take advantage, right? And don't blame me if she's busy and she's booked out. So
also just drop us a note in our DMs and Instagram. We're always checking. We want to hear from you. If you had an aha moment, we would love to know what that is so we can continue making more content that specifically you want. So thank you so much, Andre. It was really fun having this conversation.
It was my pleasure seeing you and having you on the podcast. See you guys. Until next time.
Bye.
If you are a gym owner looking to become a top-rated gym in your area, visit topratedgym.com and grab our free 30-day reputation boost. That's topratedgym.com. I'll add it to the show notes for you. Don't forget to share this with your friends. Stay strong, stay motivated, and keep pushing your gym to the top. Until next time, this is Andre signing off.